what they call it. They call that a hiatus. Hey, how the heck are you, man? It's been a while. It's been a while. Hiatus, I guess, is the word you use. I've been on hiatus. It's been like a month since I've done an update, and let's be honest. I mean, my performance and attendance before that was crappy, but here I am, endeavoring to persevere, in the words of the great Chief Dan George. So we're going to jump right back in. Thank you so much. By the way, I want to say thank you. A number of you have reached out to me over the last few weeks, asking, hey, is everything okay? Where have you been? Why haven't I seen what's going on? Thank you so much for reaching out. I was able to respond to most of you. Some of you I didn't, but thank you for thinking of me. And things have been okay. A lot going on in my busy life, but don't we all have a lot going on? I hope you had a wonderful, if you celebrate, if you're in the U.S. and celebrate Independence Day, I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July celebration and weekend. I hope you still have all your fingers. I had a great weekend. I was in Montana. I was outside the whole time. I got sunburned. I got bug bites. I got overheated, dehydrated, heat exhaust. It was a perfect weekend. It was great. Got back last night, and we're back into it. And we've got some news to get to. Thank you so much for those of you that did reach out. We are live right now on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X, of course, and you can chime in. I'm hoping to hear from you live as we do this today, but let's get into the news of the day and talk about the important stuff. We're talking classic rock here, okay? Def Leppard and Journey have kicked off their co-headlining North American tour Saturday, St. Louis. That was the first date. And guys, I have to tell you, what a bill. Okay, Def Leppard and Journey, who, regardless of your feelings on Steve Perry not being there, whatever, Steve Perry or Def Leppard and Journey still are two of the greatest live bands you can see. And as if that's not enough, opening for them is the mighty Cheap Trick, who, for my money, one of the greatest American rock and roll bands. If you have never seen Cheap Trick live, I mean, to be honest, I'd rather see Cheap Trick than Def Leppard or Journey. I'm just saying, I love them all. But what a bill. Def Leppard with Journey, and then Cheap Trick opening for them. Now, I am seeing Def Leppard in September, but when I see them, they will have just wrapped up the tour with Journey. So I will not see them with Journey, and I can't even remember who's opening. I don't think it's Cheap Trick. I would love it if Cheap Trick was opening for Def Leppard when I see them. But I'm seeing them in September here in Spokane. Def Leppard, looking forward to that. I have not seen Def Leppard since the Pyromania tour. So I saw them on Pyromania. Looking forward to seeing them. They're a great live band. What are you waiting for, right? Go see them if you've never done that. Just the reports from the first night. Most of Def Leppard's stuff came from Pyromania and Hysteria, which makes sense. My favorite, I have always told you this, my favorite Def Leppard album is actually High and Dry. High and Dry is in my top 5 albums ever. So yeah, I'm a Def Leppard fan. Having said that, Cheap Trick, one of the great live rock and roll bands ever. Got to go see them too. Let me just say this. Robin Zander is what? Close to 70. He might be 70 by now. Late 60s for sure. He, like Sammy Hagar, and let's be honest, Sammy Hagar and Robin Zander can't sing like they could sing when they were 30. But they still, they're 85 to 90% of what they used to be able to do. You compare them with the footage you see of an Axl Rose or Paul Stanley, and I'm not picking on, well, I guess I am kind of picking on him. Vince Neil could never sing like Sammy or Robin Sanders sing now. I mean, yeah. But Robin Sanders still sounds pretty dang good. Still pretty good. Journey is playing their hits, right? They're playing their hits. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. And Journey's playing the hits. Def Leppard's playing the hits. Great show. Dream Police is playing a lot of stuff. You know, they're playing their hits. Dream Police, If You Want My Love, The Flame, Surrender, I Want You to Want Me. And also, now there's all kinds of shows going on. So, Steve Miller will be on some of the dates. And I don't know if there's some dates where you get both Steve Miller and Cheap Trick. It's kind of confusing. I don't know. And then Heart was going to be go see Cheap Trick, or I'm sorry, go see Def Leppard and Journey. And who knows, you might see Steve Miller. You might see Heart. I don't know, but they're all great bands. So this is the tour of the summer. This is the tour of the summer. Got to check it out. Great live bands. I've seen Heart live. Carl, thank you for chiming in from Germany, all the way from Germany. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you checking in. Of course, my favorite guitar player in the world from Germany, the great Michael Schenker. Thank you, Carl. Speaking of Journey, now this makes my blood boil. Makes me furious when I hear stories about this. And guys, cautionary tale. Those of us that are our age, right? If we still have our parents, I lost my mom earlier this year, still have my dad, right? Our parents who might be in their 80s or their 90s, you gotta watch out for your folks. Look out for them, right? Because dirtbags like this come along. So speaking of Journey, a 75-year-old Journey fan in Cleveland, Ohio, was reportedly scammed out of $122,000 by a Steve Perry imposter. And this is rampant. If you follow any musician, any type of celebrity, anyone that has, so for instance, an aside, okay, I followed this guy on YouTube called Vice Grip Garage. Some of you might be familiar with Vice Grip Garage. He fixes cars. I just like him. He's awesome. I'm not a diehard mechanic, but I'm learning a lot watching this guy about fixing cars, and he's funny. He's just one of my favorite YouTube personalities, and he's got quite a following. A lot of people follow him. He's a great guy. But he has to regularly post in his social media, guys, there's another fake Vice Grip Garage who's asking for money, and they have to say, I'm never going to come on and ask you for money. I've seen Sammy Hagar have to do the same thing. I've seen Def Leppard, any band or celebrity that has a social media presence has to warn people, this is the only legit place. I will never come on here and ask for money. I'll never, that sort of thing. Well, this stuff goes on. So according to WKYC in New York, in January, the woman responded to a Facebook message from someone claiming to be the band's former lead singer, Steve Perry. The fake Mr. Perry had a business opportunity and, of course, quote, needed a woman in his life. Okay, so he's reaching out, being all friendly with this lady. And according to the police report, over the next several months, the woman sent the Perry imposter $72,000 in wire transfers to various persons in various different states designated by Perry through her bank, as well as $50,000 in gift cards. When the imposter began demanding pictures of her passports and driver's license, the woman realized she was being scammed and went to the police. They're attempting to track down the criminal and also advised the woman to report the scam to her bank and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. So, what can we all learn from this? Okay, chances are, Steve Perry or Sammy Hagar or some famous person is probably not going to be reaching out to you or me. I mean, that's it ain't going to happen, right? But we've got to be extra careful with our parents or whatever, because That's who these people target, right? Um, Carl has a question. And Greg, hello. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for checking in. Carl says, what do you think about Kraftwerk? Bon, bon, bon. It's the Autobahn. I love Kraftwerk. Everyone should go back and listen to Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk pioneers, synthesizer music. I mean, I'm not an expert on Kraftwerk. I love them. What about, Kraftwerk? Did Kraftwerk have the album called Man Machine, or was Man Machine a group? I should know that. Carl, you probably know the answer to that. Love Kraftwerk. Should go back and listen. Pioneers. Yes. So Bon Jovi. Now, Carl says, I want you to listen to Kraftwerk. Yeah, I'll absolutely listen. I've listened to him in the past, and I'll listen to him some more. Absolutely. Bon Jovi. Now, I saw this over the weekend. I'm not a huge Bon Jovi fan of their music. I mean, they're okay. In fact, on the Classic Guitar Rock Radio, we play Bon Jovi. They have some great tunes. But I'm a fan of John Bon Jovi, the person. He just seems like a good, down-to-earth guy. He supports causes he believes in. He goes in and works in the kitchens feeding homeless people without any fanfare. None of this, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. In fact, the only reason we know that is someone will take a picture. He's not talking about it, right? I like people that do that. They go and they do something that they think is important, and they don't do it for the publicity, right? And John seems like a guy like that. So kudos to John Bon Jovi. I like the dude. But here's the story. Here's the rub. Here's the crux. Here's the fly in the ointment. Pick your metaphor. They debuted the new album, Forever. A lot of hoopla at the beginning, right? Promoting it. Debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200. Okay. Pretty good, pretty strong debut. You debut at number 5. You're thinking, okay, this album is going to have some legs. We're going to get there. Well, guess what? By the second week, it was no longer in the top 200. Think about that. Number 5, the first week, second week, not in the top 200. So what does that mean? It means this is what I think. All the diehard fans got all the hype. They knew the word was out. They were going to go buy it. They all went and bought it, listened to it. But then after that, then it was it. It was done after that. And so what does this mean? I'm not sure what this means, other than that's kind of the nature of the music machine now. Back in the good old days in the 70s and the 80s, companies promoted artists, right? It was not just, hey, let's spend a bunch of money the week before it released and then we'll be done. That's not the way they did it. Well, that's the way they do it now. Okay. So strong debut, fell out of the top 200 by the second week. So that's not the kind of thing you want. So I haven't heard it. I haven't heard the album. I saw the one single that they debuted. It's a good song, right? I'll go back and try and listen to the album. Oh, plus there was the docu-series, right? That Richie Sambora got all offended about and all of that. So there was a big lead up, a lot of talk about it before it came out. And then strong debut, fell off the second week. Greg's chiming in on Kraftwerk. The teacher who let me borrow records, Kraftwerk was one of them. Yeah. I had a friend back in, this would have been probably about 1980 when I was in my, I was 12, 13, 14 years old. He was into all that music I'd never heard of. Kraftwerk was one of the bands too. And I've gone back since then and kind of, but pioneers for sure. True pioneers. Carl, you're too nice. Carl says, I'm going to share this with all of you so you can see it. Carl, he says, it's incredible how you can talk and talk and talk about rock music. Man, you need a show on MTV. Hey, that's what I think too. Carl, thank you so much. You're too kind. Rick Wakeman. Remember Rick Wakeman? He was in Yes, played on some of their biggest albums. He played on Fragile, Close to the Edge. He also, a lot of people don't know this, he worked with Black Sabbath too. Which Sabbath album was he working on with Black Sabbath? It was during a hiatus from Yes, right? It might have been right after he quit, and he came in and worked on, I can't remember which album he worked on, but he worked on a Sabbath album, and apparently they paid him in beer. I think this is the one that they paid him. I don't know. He's a character, by the way. Rick Wakeman is a character. Well, he's been doing this one-man U.S. tour. So Rob says it was Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Thank you, Rob. Rob for the save. Thank you. But he's been doing this one-man tour. I would love to see this because I would think it would be interesting. He's done several of these albums and tours in the past. Here's a rabbit hole you need to go down. Listen to his album, Journey to the Center of the Earth. It's pretty cool. Okay. It's not a typical rock album, right? It's not for everyone, but I loved it. Okay. I loved it. So Rick Wakeman is extending his final one-man U.S. tour. Recent years, remember, he was touring with John Anderson and Trevor Rabin, the ARW, well, they couldn't call themselves Yes because there was another group called Yes that's touring, right? But these three who had all been in Yes, they were touring at the same time. Some people said that was the more legitimate version compared to the other version of Yes that didn't have any original members. But you can check him out on his extended leg of his tour. He says, quote, "The plan is not to perform at the same venue twice throughout this period. So whatever venue you are hopefully thinking of coming to, it will be the last performance there. And I'm taking this opportunity of thanking everyone and anyone who has supported me over the last 53 years. And guys, I've said this before. Our classic rock artists, the people we like, they're all getting older. And so what we hear people say often is, well, man, they don't sound like they used to. I'm not going to fork out the money. And I get that. That's one school of thought. But another school of thought is this will probably be the last chance. Okay. Sammy Hagar's 75, 76 years old. If I don't go see him on this tour, I might not see him again. Might not be an opportunity. So what I'm saying is, especially the ones that can still perform at a pretty high level, you're running out of chances to see him. Whether it's a Sammy Hagar, a Cheap Trick, a Journey even. They've got a younger singer that can go for a while, but Neil Schon, Jonathan, these guys aren't getting any younger. None of our favorite rock groups are getting any younger. So there it is. Carl says, how did this affect the reception of Rammstein? Is it pronounced Rammstein or Rammstein, Carl? Rammstein? I know I'm familiar with Rammstein, but I've actually listened to Kraftwerk more than Rammstein. I would think that the success of Kraftwerk, where they were from Germany, I would think there was a kind of spillover effect for lots of bands. Think about, in the 70s, probably Kraftwerk and maybe Scorpions, they might have been the biggest bands in Germany. So I think that probably helped all the bands in Germany. That's just my thought. I mean, I don't know for sure. That would be my initial thought. Deep Purple, by the way. Oh, I should have talked about Deep Purple. This new Deep Purple album, guys, what I've heard, I have not heard the whole album. I've heard the singles that they've released. And it's really good. Okay. It's really good. Whoosh, the one that came out a few years ago, was excellent. So yeah. And another band that falls into that category I was just talking about, Ian Gillan. He still sounds pretty good. I would say his voice hasn't aged as well as Robin Zander's or Sammy Hagar's, but he still does pretty good. Musically, those guys are still super tight. And again, if you have a chance to go see them because you won't have chances to do that again. So, oh yes, Bruce says Loverboy is opening for Sammy Hagar on some dates. Is that on the current tour? I think I saw that. Loverboy, another band. They don't look good anymore, but they still sound pretty doggone good. Mike Reno still sounds pretty dang good. Doesn't look anything like he looked in 1982, right? But they still sound pretty good. So Rick Wakeman, if you can catch him, check him out for sure. Now, 2 sad items. And again, right? Our artists are getting older. So still sad when it happens. So Joe Egan, he was the partner of Jerry Rafferty in Stealers Wheel, right? Stuck in the Middle. Stealers Wheel is really good, by the way. They're worth a deep dive. Well, before Jerry Rafferty did, Baker Street and Right Down the Line and all of those stuff, and I love Jerry Rafferty. Well, he and Joe Egan worked together in Stealers Wheel. Top 10 hit in the US and the UK, Stuck in the Middle, came out in 1973. And then in Reservoir Dogs, when the movie came out in the early 90s, that kind of had a little resurgence. Well, Joe Egan has passed away, and social media, the post said, quote, "Very sad news at the other half of Stealers Wheel. Joe Egan passed away peacefully yesterday afternoon with his nearest and dearest around him." His daughter runs the social media page. She says, quote, "I will always remember him as a sweet and gentle soul. May he rest in peace," end quote. And also more sad news, Tim Fowler, who was the bassist, he played with Frank Zappa, also played with Ray Charles. I was not aware of that. He has passed at the age of 73. Engineer and producer Dennis Moody confirmed the loss in a Facebook post, noting that Fowler died on July 2nd from complications of an aneurysm he suffered the previous week. Moody says, quote, "He was one of the most creative, intelligent, and wackiest people I've ever met. Tom played bass on a half dozen Frank Zappa albums and as well of the last 10 years with Ray Charles. I met Tom and his brother Walt when I was 20 years old. He and I remained friends forever, touring the world and making lots of incredible music," end quote. So our hearts go out to, our condolences go out to the families of both Joe Egan and Tom Fowler. Just a few housekeeping things I want to say at the end. Again, guys, thank you so much. Those of you that reached out to me during this last month when I wasn't doing any updates, thank you so much. As always, I'd love to hear from you. An email, classicguitarrock@mail.com, classicguitarrock@mail.com. And let me invite you to check out the radio station. If you haven't checked out the radio station, please do that. Carl, let me invite you. I'm not sure it's available in Germany. You might be able to listen to it in Germany. I'm not sure. If you go to classicguitarrock.com, go to the website, classicguitarrock.com. There's a button there. You can click on, one button's for the radio station, one button's for the podcast. Click on the radio station and play that. Carl, I'd be interested to hear if you actually can pick it up in Germany. That would be great. But all of you, thank you for tuning in to the update today. And I'll be back at it this week and we'll be much more consistent. Thank you all. Take care. Good luck. God bless. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Take care.